I can't believe how much different you look with that beard off, by the way. Cool. Ed Challis MBE. Thanks for coming on and having a quick call.
You're more than welcome.
Excellent. I don't want to take up much of your time. I know you're a busy chap, being an MBE and all. For anyone who's in America, an MBE basically is like a king. So do you want to give anyone watching this who's on the edge about whether they think they need to align themselves with who they are and what they love to do, whether they think they're happiest in their business, whether they think there can be room for improvement? Can you give the audience a bit of an idea as to where you were back then in December 2017?
Absolutely. So I had left the army, having had a successful career. I just didn't want to go and do the next jobs that were there. And I had a girlfriend who had started doing hot food from a very cool food truck. Loved the vibe with it. Thought I'd help her out for a bit while I then decided what grown-up job I was going to go and do. And it turned out I was really enjoying it. So I then continued and thought, right, well, let's see if I can add some value to this and become full-time on it. We'd had a great, successful summer, depending obviously how you define success, but we were profitable. We were having fun. We had just been away traveling to Mexico, Cuba, Jamaica. It was absolutely incredible, and it seemed like things couldn't go any better. What I thought I was doing very well was saying yes to every and any opportunity, anything that came up. It didn't matter what it was. I was very keen to do it. I thought a business is great when you're busy, when you're doing all that you can. And then I didn't understand how we weren't sort of gaining any momentum in the right direction. We didn't seem to feel as successful. The money wasn't as good as I thought it would be. The turnover was great, but I didn't understand at that stage that that's just vanity and your net is sanity. And I thought I was in a very good position. I'll try and keep it short as to how I sort of then met Jim. That's my background. So I had a friend who had also left the army, was going to a business. I'd seen a LinkedIn article that Jim had written about military people. When they leave, they just give everything their heart and soul, and they tend to make things work. And I thought, yeah, well, that's pretty much what I'm doing, just going for it in absolutely every way. Jim then got in touch with me and said, do you want to have a chat? I had no idea what Jim did at the time, I'll confess. I just thought, oh yeah, I love chatting about the business, something I'm passionate about. And he let me ramble on for a long time. And then I sort of said, why do you want to know? And then he explained what he did, which was to, for me, give focus as to where I was going. But he did that by cutting right back to the core and going, and it seems really simple. And when I've been thinking about this, what is it that motivates you? Everyone knows what motivates them. What makes them feel good. But it's understanding why it is, and that's something we probably don't ever consider. So that's how I sort of came into sort of talking to Jim, and then sort of realised the positive steps we were taking. Jim, stop me if I'm rambling.
Awesome. And would you say the benefit was solely relating to your business? Or would you say that the fundamentals, the self-awareness that went through actually benefited you in a wider sense?
I think I'm someone who does react to things quite well. So if I buy into something, I'm going to do it well, and I then was able to take that and use it in my personal life. There were different things. Focus again. Let's use as a sort of theme, as I definitely can lack it, as you will see with my rambling. But I was able to bring that into my own life, and so instead of getting up in the morning and just like jumping into the first thing, right, what do I have to do? Yes, I know what I'm doing within the business. I need to jump into that straight away. My life probably didn't have enough focus and attention spent on me. So I would get up and do something for myself in the morning, and that could be anything from taking 5 minutes to an hour to just making sure I was taking the business, myself, my now wife, in the direction that we definitely wanted to go. And then I was able to help her with that as well. And although she said I was maybe preaching it a little bit too much, as soon as I let her discover it for herself, she was worse than I was. Going, oh my God, everyone needs to try this. So that was really cool. And because my wife's very creative and I was much more of a supporter role, more involved in the details, it was one of those ones we couldn't understand why we were clashing in things, which is not great. It's great that we came from different opinions, but we understood then why we started clashing on certain things and what roles we had to play within the business. And instead of us both trying to do everything and then being upset that someone was thinking something differently or didn't like our viewpoint on things, we went, okay, well, let's play to our strengths. You do the creation, I'll do the details, I'll do all the logistics, I'll do the front of house, the people interaction, and we can still do bits and pieces together where we need to support each other along the way. So it was great for business. It then, transformed things when, especially when you're working as a couple in your personal life, to then have a little bit more balance in what you're doing there and being able to switch off from it and have a lot more fun. And I just became a lot more positive with a focus in the personal life as well. So it hugely benefited me in that area as well.
So what would you say briefly to anybody who's on the fence about whether they think they need to learn more about themselves, whether they don't know whether that the clarity is missing or focus is missing? What would you say to anybody who's kind of on the fence?
It takes people time to realize, and you can't force yourself into doing it. Thing is, if you've not had a chat with Jim for 30 minutes, a free chat, and the thing is, Jim will be completely honest. Jim is the way he is. He's got a certain personality. You may or may not, it may not gel with you, and he's completely open about that. So if it's something that's going to work for you, have a chat. It's 30 minutes where you might actually tap in and go, yeah, there's something that's definitely here. And if it's not, then you've just spent 30 minutes talking to a pretty interesting guy who's worked all over the world, and it's just something to tell someone down the pub about a guy you spoke to before. So you've got nothing to lose doing it. And for me, it completely transformed the way I was looking at business. It's given my business, my life, everything much greater focus and clarity. Plus now with these events, if that's something you'd maybe also like to consider, I've enjoyed being a part of it from the offset immensely. I mean, for no sort of financial gain, anything other than intrinsic reward, it's been absolutely brilliant. And, it's just something that I can see going from strength to strength. So I'd just say, give Jim an email, pick him up. He's quite funny. Not as funny as me, but he's pretty funny. So, just have an interesting chat with him.
Ed, you're an absolute star. Champ as always. Love talking to you, and thanks a lot for helping out. Hopefully you've inspired or entertained people who are on the fence. And yeah, thanks a lot for joining.